G'day everyone, and welcome to Griffinix Tabletop Miniatures. In this video, we'll be checking out the Hekaton Land Fortress for Leagues of Votann from Warhammer 40K. Now this is a big set, or a big kit rather. It's not really a set, is it? Oh, it's a nice big kit, decent size miniature. I've heard it referred to a number of times as a shoebox on wheels. I don't think that that's a particularly affectionate name for the model, but yeah, I guess it's not to everyone's taste, but I like it. And it stands out as being different from some of the other ones available, for whether they be Space Marines and things like that, or Imperial Guard, because they are meant to be their own thing, and they still have that sort of homage back to human technology. No, I like it. Got a few options for how to make this thing. As you can see, you've got rail cannon, Magna rail cannon, I believe it's called, there on the left, and then you've got underneath it the gun that can go on the back, some sort of auto cannon thing, and then you've also got the ion, some sort of ion cannon looking thing underneath that. Some missiles, guns on the side, whether they be heavy, what are they called, bolt cannons or ion cannons of some kind. And what's that, a conversion beamer or something, some sort of yeah, weapon like that on the top. Down here you see the sides and you see the cockpit. Very curious as to how they came up with this design. It is different. I do like it though, like I said. Anyway, that shouldn't be surprising. I like the Leagues of Votann stuff. I like that they're unique. And if you've been watching this channel, you know that I like mostly a lot of what Games Workshop makes. Don't always like what they do, but I like a lot of what they make. Got an set of instructions down here. Come back down. Just leave that there. And a transfer sheet. I guess that's to be expected in kits such as this. We have the transparent sort of windows, I guess you could call them, the glass canopies. Excuse me. Bit of a sore throat lately. Apologise if I cough or whatnot. But yeah, obviously, if you're going to be gluing these on and painting the interior of your model, may I just point out that you might not want to frost up the canopies. Like if you were working with Eldar kits, like the Wave Serpent, the Falcon Grav Tank, etc., you don't want to damage the cockpits or their flyers as well, actually. You can get, you can use super glue ultimately. You can, if you're incredibly careful. You also can get away with using plastic glue, again, if you're incredibly careful. But even the most experienced of builders, when it comes to these kits, or hobbyists, can make mistakes. Now, if you just put the tiniest little bit too much super glue on there, you'll get frosting, and it'll look terrible. It'll run, and it'll look terrible. If you use a little too much plastic glue, you might get things like, it might run somewhere, and you might notice it at first. You'll put your finger there to hold the thing down, and then you'll leave a nasty fingerprint or things of that nature on the miniature, and that doesn't look good. But you can buy if you want to avoid a lot of that, there's a glue that works with glass, and it will work with this. I'd recommend buying that. A number of brands make it a product like that. Just do a little bit of research online and look for a glue for glass. And yeah, it'll stick this on, and it should not cause the problems that plastic or super glue will. But again, if you use too much on anything, you'll stuff it up anyway. So just be careful, and a little extra care with these parts. Let's not damage them, eh? In my case, I'm probably going to be painting mine, because as much as I really like the interior of these of this cockpit and things of that nature, I really like that, and I think it looks great. But I also like the idea of them being able to see through a more metallic-like finish on the exterior, so it's sort of like those silver mirrors sort of thing, where you can see through one side, but the other side you can't, sort of thing. I think that's the sort of thing I'd go with mine. But that's a personal choice. Let's have a look at this first sprue here. We've got quite a bit to look at there. I might just move the camera over and back a bit so I can get it all into the shot. But yeah, look at that. You've got the back there where the rear hatch should go, and you've got part of the top, the back there, some suspension, I imagine. You've got the missiles, and oh, just in the corner of my eye, I've just noticed something. Let's take a look at this chassis-like piece here. See, that's clearly the front, because I recognise that. And that's where the 4 wheels at the front would go, and that's where the 2 at the back would go. Now look at this. From that angle, for anyone out there who's interested in, I don't know, trains and things of that nature, does that not look familiar? Just imagine the sprue's not there. I think that looks like a pair of buffers. Now, why would this thing have a pair of buffers? You know what? I don't normally do things in this order, but I'm very curious. Let's have a look here. Oh, right in the first lot, and a coupler. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Now look at this. How interesting is this? The chassis, where all the suspension and everything goes, as you can see in this picture where it's complete, looks like a pair of train buffers, particularly those from the UK, my country as well, Australia. We'll be familiar with what buffers are. Like, I don't imagine in the United States you have buffers like that, for instance. But you've got the buffers on either side, and you've got the coupling piece right there. I wonder, is this just a nice little nod to the fact that this is a remake of, essentially a remake of the old land train, perhaps? That the squats used to have? Is it just an homage, perhaps, to that? Or as well as being an homage, is it possibly the sign of things to come? I wonder, given what Games Workshop's done more recently with Necromunda, for instance, with its land vehicle thing with the trailer, is it possible that we may in future see either another variation of this kit or an additional kit that could be used maybe as a single piece that doesn't move, or one that can move when attached to a land fortress? If that's what they're doing, Games Workshop, if that's what you're doing, I'm all for it. I think that's an awesome idea. Although I admit the model is pretty expensive as it is, adding a trailer to it's only going to make it more expensive. But if that's an idea for a future possible release, to have something that connects to this, further making it like the old land train, I love it. I wonder if that's what they're going to do. Haven't heard anyone talk about this online, not saying that they haven't, but yeah, I'll just point that out. That's really cool. Sorry to get distracted from the sprues there, but can't stop seeing that now. Wow, I hope they do make a trailer, and if they don't, I might have to kit bash one. Yeah. Oh, I like that. It could just end up being like, you put the hook on the back of a Lehman Russ, You're not really going to be pulling much with that, but you put it on because it looks cool. It could just be something like that, but you never know. Anyway, this is the second sprue. As you can see up the top here, we've got the little ball joints. Ball joints. The gun, things that hold the guns that are sort of on a ball-like socket thing. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, those. Obviously, the side of the vehicle. Space for the door. Parts for the ion gun thing and the Magna rail cannon. Wheels. I'm assuming they're some of the smaller wheels. They don't quite look big enough to be the big ones. I'll just have a look at the next sprue quickly. Yeah, they're definitely the smaller wheels because there's some examples of the bigger ones. Right, okay. There's the rear hatch. I might have to put... there's a part from the gun haulers from Caradron Overlords. I might have it nearby. Just one moment. I do have it nearby. I have a number of this little part spare because I did actually, in the last few years, I made a few steam tanks for my Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar army, and I actually made them from parts that I had spare from Oniga Dune crawlers and the sort of bauble-like bit from the gun hauler. And because I didn't use these parts, because I made them for my humans, and this is very dwarf-like, I thought I'd keep them for some other conversion in the future, and now these have come along. I wonder if sort of sitting that on the door look cool. I think it does. I think it looks alright. What do you think? Yeah. It might go there. It might end up being on the door at the front. I don't know. I think this one's the door. Oh no, they're the sides. They're fairly similar to the one at the front, I guess. So let's just have a look at how that might fit. Oh, it doesn't quite fit. Oh well. It'll probably go on the back. Yeah, there's a part of the interior if you're interested in seeing that. Of the cockpit or the pilot seat or whatever you want to call it. So many people get upset if you say the word cockpit. It's like it's just a word. I didn't make it up. Couldn't help that. Anyway. Yeah. You got the lights from the front and the searchlight. Assuming that's the rear of the searchlight. Looks familiar. Space Marine players would recognise that. Yeah. I do like this kit. It's going to take a little while to build. There's a lot of parts there. And I'm most excited. Oops. Just bumped my desk. I'm most excited for this bit here. Is it really? Is it really? And there's the coupling. Little bit there. Is it really possibly going to have trailers in the future? I hope it does. Honestly. Yeah, wow. Anyway. Now that we've looked at the sprues, we'll look further into the instructions. Might have to change where the camera is. Just let me do that. Just a sec. That's a little better. You can see that we put the sides onto the chassis there. We put the rear door on. Or the frame anyway, the rear door frame on the front frame. And you start to put this rear angled roof part on, along with the, I guess you could call it like the roll cage. Then you start to put in some smaller details up on the top. And cockpit there. Pilot seat. Now, if you wanted to paint the interior of this up really nicely, I would recommend even painting the door piece here before putting it on. Yeah, for sure. Because that's going to be tricky to ensure that, you know, all the lining in there. So I don't know if you can see. You can see that there's lines in there. So it's like a roller door sort of thing. And you might want that outlined and highlighted or whatever. It will be mostly behind the pilot, so you know. Then again, you might just have that feeling that if it's mostly unseen, I won't worry about it, sort of thing. That's usually what I would go with. But sometimes, you know, you like a miniature, and you think, you know, a little bit more than the last one you worked on, sort of thing, and you think, you know what, I'm going to put more effort in. And if you were to do that, I thought that, you know, I better point that out. Sometimes sub-assembly is important. And you just put more of that side armor and bits on here, and more of that roll cagey stuff, and the doors themselves into their frames. Interesting, I think, that they didn't make the doors open and have any kind of interior in any part of the other than the cockpit area, sort of thing, on the model. Given they do so on the Space Marine models, for instance. Just interesting. It doesn't bother me at all, but because I usually model mine shut anyway. But I know a lot of people like to model things like that open and do a bit of work on the interior, which, it looks great. Don't get me wrong. I just couldn't be bothered. My personal choice. Yeah, and there's the weapon options. As you can see down here, you can have the bolt cannons, I think they're called, and the ion cannons. Blasters or something. I'm not sure what the iron ones are actually called. And again, the options. And that's interesting. The back of it, you can either have the missile there, or you can have that sensor thing there. And then you can choose to have the gun right on the back there, or you can have the little bubble thing. Just like you could have it over here instead. I think I'll have some sort of missile launcher on mine, and then the gun on the back, if I can have both those options on the one. It appears there. It looks like I can. I think I'll go with the Magna rail cannon thing. Yeah. But I guess I'll need another 2 of them so I can have one of each, which is really annoying. But and expensive. But I'm a collector, so that's the way it goes. If I really like the army, I tend to try to get everything, which is exactly where Games Workshop want me to be. I guess as a consumer of their products. Yeah. It's interesting. You can choose how you want the setup at the front to be. You can either have these there, or it appears you might be able to put them up the top if you wanted to and swap that around, maybe. But yeah, that's interesting. Or maybe it's just saying you can choose which way around you want them to face. I don't know. Like, meaning, do you want the central lights there, or do you want them on the outside of the little ones? I don't know. But it seems to make sense to have them that way around, I think. And if you choose not to bother with the interior here and you just glue the canopies in, I suppose then you've got a few spare bits. Always nice to have. There you go. Oh, very cool. Again, and I know I keep saying this, I'm very interested to know why the back of this looks like a train and why it has a coupling like a train. Buffers and a coupling. Is this going to be part of a future land train miniature? It wouldn't surprise me at this point. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be opposed to it, as I said. I like the idea. Do you guys like that idea? Do you think that's a little silly, a little too much, or do you think I'm just grasping at straws and perhaps giving Games Workshop a little too much benefit of the doubt? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too much of a fanboy. Fan person, whatever. Be interested to know what you think and what you think of this kit. Have you got one? Are you putting one into your Leagues of Votann army? If so, how did you find the build? Was it did it go together well? Did you notice the buffers and the coupling like I have? Did you Have trouble getting your canopy in? Did you frost it up? Did you leave fingerprints on it? Did you glue it in perfectly with no problems? Or did you not care and you just glued it in any old how and painted over it anyway? Very, very curious to know what you did with yours. Yeah, I'm going to look forward to putting this one together, and I honestly didn't think I'd have one of these before a Sagitteur. Or a Sagitteur, or whatever they're called. Yeah. Oh well. Can only buy what's in the shop at the time, I suppose. Anyway. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the future releases for this channel. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. I've been Matt the Hat, and I'll catch you in the next one.